Hi everyone, and thank you for dropping in. It's May the 30th, one more day of May, and then the 1st of June, which, as we found out over the past couple of days, will be the day when a lot of people will be able to arrive in Thailand and get a 60-day stay automatically. We'll have a little bit more information about that particular information and the countries involved in this program. But, well, there's been another big story around this week, and let's go to the Pattaya News, which brings us up to date with what's happening on Soi 6. And the British tourist involved in the viral Soi 6 brawl with guards has been found and files a formal legal complaint. And in a viral incident that's made international headlines and drove significant speculation and discussion online, to say the least, a group of independent contracted guards brutally assaulted British tourists after a furious dispute over a bill on the bustling Soi 6. And the attack raised serious concerns about safety and tarnished the family-friendly image of the popular tourist destination, according to Pattaya Police. And we do have a story about that particular reaction later in the program as well. Well, smiles all around, and just looking at the furnishings doesn't really look like a Pattaya police station. It says the incident was captured on video, sparking outrage and condemnation. And in particular, footage of one guard violently kicking a tourist in the head while already lying on the ground having been beaten caused outrage and made headlines across the globe. The guard claimed the victim attacked him first, breaking his nose on the street, which started the fight. Now, some speculated the man was seriously injured, in a coma, or dead. But none of that was correct, as the victim said he'd managed to walk away mostly uninjured from the incident and return to his hotel. In fact, down the bottom there, the man involved said he even went back out drinking the same night on Walking Street. Oh well, we're about to show a couple of shots of the injuries, so just fast forward a bit if you don't want to see them. And these taken of the 42-year-old, we'll name him in just a moment, but obviously a few injuries around the top of the head and there under his chin. And the victim of the head kicking, identified as Mr. Bryce Mahoney, a 42-year-old British national, met with police yesterday, along with a man he called his brother, but it was unclear whether there was a blood relation involved in the incident. And they met police last night at 6 p.m. after having been successfully found. Mr. Mahoney is a tourist and legally able to stay in Thailand until June the 8th. And he's officially filed a complaint with the Pattaya Police, seeking legal action against the guards involved in attacking him. And his injuries included bruising to the face and head, but he was not seriously injured and did not need hospital treatment. And after a short visit back to his hotel after the fight, he then went out drinking more on Walking Street with, as he says, no problems. But it says one of Mr. Mahoney's friends, this would be the third person, chose not to report the crime or identify himself due to safety and privacy concerns, and is reportedly no longer in Pattaya. Meanwhile, according to the police, the contracted security group responsible for the attack operated independently without any official Pattaya city approval or training. They were not directly affiliated with any bar establishment or group, and the contractors violated Thai government policies. As a result, the group of independent guards will face legal action. And then the story from the Pattaya News says police are continuing their investigation. Additional charges may be filed against the perpetrators, and it's unclear at this point if the victims will face any counter charges, such as for reportedly shoving other customers out of the bar or allegedly breaking the nose of one of the guards. So the story's not over yet, but I think what we can take away from this is that everybody's safe and well, and that's the most important thing. And for all those people who are sending me messages saying they should be charged for attempted murder, well, I think you need to take that up with the police. There's no use sending me your comments because I can't do anything about it. Okay, now to some follow-up on the change of visa situation here in Thailand. And we understand that a lot of it is still very unclear, and a lot of people have, well, probably more questions than we've so far been provided answers. But I think all we need to do is, just as everything here in Thailand, be patient, and the information will gradually emerge. The one thing that we do know is that from this Saturday, a whole host of countries, including ones that were previously given 30-day visa exemption, will now be given 60 days. So let's check that information. And Nation says Thailand lifts visa requirements for 93 nations. And the Foreign Ministry on Wednesday released a list of 93 nations whose citizens can enter Thailand without a visa, that's visa exemption, or obtain a visa on arrival and can stay for up to 60 days. And the list includes the 57 nations whose citizens were allowed to stay in Thailand for 30 days without a visa, 13 nations for whom the visa requirement was recently waived, and an additional 6 nations whose citizens will be allowed to stay here without a visa for 60 days. Well, at least this is all quite clear, and this kicks off from Saturday. The Foreign Ministry, they're able to update this list as they feel free. Doesn't need royal assent or anything like that. Now, I'll put a link in the description of this video of this particular article, which lists all these particular countries. But let's have a quick look at it. It says the 57 nations who were already enjoying a visa waiver and can now get a 60-day stamp are Canada, the Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, and so the list goes on. As I said, I'll put a link in the description, and the list finishes with Australia, Austria, Belgium, Bahrain, Brazil, Brunei, and the 13 nations whose citizens were already getting a 30-day stamp on arrival and will now get 60 days. India, Kazakhstan, Malta, Mexico, Papua New Guinea, Romania, Uzbekistan, Taiwan, Bhutan, Bulgaria, Cyprus, Fiji, and Georgia. And the 6 new nations whose citizens will now enjoy a visa waiver and a 60-day stay are China, Laos, Macau, Mongolia, Russia, and Cambodia. And the 17 new nations that are now eligible for visa on arrival and will get a 60-day stamp are Guatemala, Jamaica, Jordan, Kosovo, Morocco, Panama, Sri Lanka, Trinidad and Tobago, Tonga, Uruguay, Albania, Colombia, Croatia, Cuba, Dominica Republic, and Ecuador. So just barreling through that list. If you want to have a closer look and try and figure it all out, I've put a link in the description of that particular video. All right, now to our next story. And Al Jazeera, in this case, along with a whole lot of other publications here in Thailand and overseas, report former Thailand PM Thaksin Shinawatra to go on trial for royal insult. And Thailand's former Prime Minister, Thaksin Shinawatra, who returned home last year after 15 years in exile, will go on trial next month on charges of insulting the monarchy. And the spokesperson for the Thai Attorney General said the 74-year-old Thaksin would be summoned to appear in court on June the 18th to answer charges under Thailand's lese majeste law. And if you've just returned from a trip to the moon for the last 30 years, a quick bit of background. Thaksin, a prominent telecommunications tycoon, was first elected PM in 2001 but removed 5 years later in a military coup amid mass protests from urban middle class and disquiet over his policies among the pro-royalist, pro-military elite. His populist political movement continued to win elections even after Thaksin went into what should be self-imposed exile, but was brought down in coups or court rulings among relentless political upheaval. And the latest allegations were made by the generals who seized power from Thaksin's sister Yingluck Shinawatra in 2014 and relate to an interview he gave to South Korean media the following year. And that article full of background but doesn't actually tell us what he said. So we go to the BBC. And from BBC.com, former Thai PM Thaksin to face royal insult charges, and the charges related to an interview he gave to a South Korean newspaper in 2015. In that article, he'd accused the King's top advisory body, the Privy Council, of helping engineer the 2014 military coup, which deposed an administration led by his sister Yingluck. Well, it appears from that article that the alleged defamation may have been directed at the Privy Council, not directly at the royal family. But Thaksin indicted, and that going to court from the middle of next month. And with thanks to our sponsors, we've got 5-Star Marine at 5starmarinephuket.com and Beach House Thailand for a bespoke stay in 3 very tastefully decorated beach houses right on the coast, just 50 metres off the beach from Pangar Beach called Tham Luang. So you can check all that out. There's links in the description for both. Some deals with 5-Star Marine and links to the Airbnb sites for Beach House Thailand. All right, now let's have a talk about Disneyland. Yes, Nation Thailand saying, can Thailand get Disneyland? I suppose the other question would be, does Thailand want Disneyland? But anyway, the answer, it says, is yes, if it changes its existing laws on tax and infrastructure and opens the door to world theme park operators. The chairman of the board, who's also managing director of Siam Park Bangkok, said Thailand needs more man-made attractions to enhance tourism. And there he is standing in front of a depiction of Thailand politics over the past couple of decades. And he said Thailand has no investments in mega theme park projects, apart from spending on water theme parks and small theme parks in hotels and shopping malls. He said in Asia, China leads the list in attracting investments in global theme parks, followed by Vietnam. Or does Thailand need mega theme parks? Does it need its own Disneyland? I'll be interested to hear your comments in the comments section. Some would argue Thailand already has its own special Disneyland, at least for middle-aged men, in Pattaya. This story from BangkokPost.com, Pattaya promises to clean up its reputation for sex tourism. And Pattaya tourism operators have vowed to promote family tourism, local food and Thai martial arts, certainly saw some of that in Soi 6 last week, to eliminate its long-standing image as a hub of sex tourism, while urging authorities to cater to rising tourist numbers following state efforts to allow travellers from more countries to stay in the kingdom for up to 60 days. And the president from the Association of Chonburi Tourism Federation says most tourism operators agreed that Pattaya's nightlife image remained dominant among foreigners, more so than other tourist draws. But with the market trends shifting, all businesses in Chonburi, including bars and nightclubs, must adapt to survive. So there you go, some good advice there from the Chonburi Tourism Association. So Pattaya businesses, hop to it. Like this guy. And we've got some video footage from Chiang Mai. Yes, this video footage from Chiang Mai. A kangaroo, well, very obviously a kangaroo, looks like it's got out of its enclosure. Let's see if we can find out. And Thai PBS World reports public advised not to approach escaped kangaroo in Chiang Mai. Now, I should say up front, being an Australian, kangaroos, and I've seen many of them over the years, are generally very docile and they'll be running or hopping away from you before you'll get too close in most cases. The bigger ones, with their feet, they can rear up on their tail. They can do some serious damage, but probably not this one, although, as they suggest, don't get too close. And an investigation into the escape found that the 2-year-old kangaroo, one of 23 such marsupials in the zoo, sneaked out of a cage in the Australian Animal Zone when a staff member entered during the morning feeding time. I didn't know there was an Australian Animal Zone at the Chiang Mai Zoo. Now I do. And with that, hopefully you're more up to date with some of the main stories from around Thailand. And please subscribe to the channel. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.